This is Terror House Radio with Matt Forney and Bryden Proctor.
Yeah, welcome to a Terror House Radio episode number 53. I'm Matt Forney, your charming and loquacious host, and the founder and editor-in-chief of Terror House Press. My co-host and producer, Bryden Proctor, will not be joining us for this episode. He is off mourning the loss of his dear beloved penis. It has disappeared beneath his fat folds, never to be seen again. We're all very sad about this moment. So, moment of silence for Bryden's penis. Okay, that's enough. My guest for this program is Patrick Kilgore. Patrick is a poet, a writer, and most importantly, for the purposes of this interview, he is the author of SPECTRES of Saturn, which is coming from Terror House Press this Friday. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Hey, Matt. How you doing? I'm excited to be here. I'm very excited about my book coming out on Friday.
Yeah, well, I'm excited too. I'm super excited. You can hear it in my voice. But I do this with every first-time interviewee because I always want to give them a chance to, I don't want to put words in their mouth. So for the people in the audience who don't know who you are, Patrick, could you just kind of get the Cliff Notes version of yourself, your work, that kind of thing?
All right. Well, my name's Patrick Kilgore. I write prose mostly and short stories right now. I am working on my first novel. I'm about a third of the way through it, I would say. It's coming along pretty good. And I like to talk about sex a lot. I like to talk about love. And mostly just sex, honestly. I am currently curating content for a pornographic journal. If anybody listening has any kind of lewd poetry, prose, or stories, you can send them my way. My email is in my Twitter bio.
Yeah, there'll be a link to that. Pornographic. You're curating stories for a pornographic magazine. Do you mind talking a bit about that? Because I can't get that strain of conversation float away.
No, okay. So there was a pornographic journal that ran in London in the 1880s called The Pearl that I stumbled across at a little bookstore around my place that I just thought was fucking hilarious. And I fell in love with the thing. And I showed it to a couple of my buddies, and they felt the same shit I did, that we got to do this. We got to make something in line with this, but current. So we're currently creating and curating content for it. We are, say, 30, 40 pages through an erotic epic poem. That's turning out pretty nice.
Damn, that sounds hot. That sounds hot. But yeah, if you want to contribute to this magazine, all of Patrick's links will be in the description if you want to check that out. But the topic of this episode is, of course, Spectres of Saturn. Patrick, you want to talk a bit about that book? Sell it to the audience.
Yeah. So I wrote the book, I would say, between 2014 and 2018. And it's a collection of about 35 prose and poetry pieces of various topics, including takes on pop culture, sex, a lot of sex in there, some violence, and a lot of scenic images of Appalachia. Let's just say that. It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, that's... I don't want to dox you or anything, but that's where you're from, right?
Yeah. A lot of books. I mean, the second book's called Boogie and the Bird. Takes place in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
that makes sense. We finished editing the book. It's going to be out on Friday. I really like it. Obviously, one of the motifs I noticed in Spectre of Saturn is that you really kind of lean on sort of the the Roman the Roman Greek mythology. There's a there's the centerpiece of the. Well, maybe you don't see it this way, but it's definitely the longest piece in the book. Is a poem called the Trial of Moloch and Dionysius. That's a very interesting work. It was actually, I believe, you actually did publish it at Terror House Magazine last year. There'll be a link to that in the description. Go check out the excerpts, guys. It'll really sell you on the book. What was your kind of thought process, and don't give away the plot, obviously, but your thought process in terms of the subjects you write about, the subject matter you chose for Spectres of Saturn?
That was a dream I had that I decided to turn into a prose piece. The dream was embellished. I wanted to add a lot of things in there to make certain points, but I try to wake up around 3 or 4 in the morning every morning. It helps me dream better, or remember my dreams better, and go back to sleep after that.
Mm-hmm.
And that piece was a dream that I had. I would think, interpreting my own dream. That's a rough thing you're asking me to do there.
Well, I mean, you don't have to get too deep in it. I didn't know that it came from a dream, But that is interesting. You said you wake up at 3 and 4 in the morning to process dreams. I think that's actually part of if I recall correctly, that's actually a part of natural human sleep processes. Like the whole idea that you fall asleep at one time and you wake up, and you just sleep in one go is actually that really didn't come about until the invention of electricity. Prior to, for most of human history, human beings had a biphasic sleep pattern, which is you'd go to sleep, when the sun set, because, at night, all you have is candlelight. You'd wake up maybe around midnight or so. That time was used, historically, couples would use it to, have sex or, just chat. Then they'd go to bed again and wake up, when the sun came up around 5 or 6 or so. It wasn't until electric light came around that, monophasic sleep became the norm for human beings. It makes sense that going back to kind of like that sort of natural sleep pattern would make it easier to interpret dreams, particularly, in the early morning to kind of, you're still, because, with dreams, like I have a lot of vivid fucking frightening dreams, particularly these days, but I never remember them when I wake up. That's just a typical thing. It's very difficult to remember a dream when you wake up. The famous example of a poem written from a dream was Samuel Taylor Coleridge's Kubla Khan. The reason that poem ends so abruptly is because, according to the story, it came to him in a dream, he woke up, he started writing it, someone interrupted him, and then he just forgot the whole damn thing.
Yeah, there's a good bit of dream poetry in the book, I would say. 5 or 6 pieces off the top of my head that I can think about. Maybe you can go through and see which ones you think for yourself. I actually so your REM cycle of sleep starts pretty soon after you fall asleep. And for me, I was struggling remembering my dreams for the longest time. So I did some research, and the best ways to help you recollect your dreams when you wake up in the morning. And the method that I found that worked for me the best was waking up at 4 or 5 or 3 sometimes before I have to get up, and restarting my REM cycle. That way the dream was closer to the last time I woke up, makes it more vivid, makes it easier for it to remember. It's a little tip.
Yeah. And one tip I heard years ago that I used to follow is that if you want to record your dreams, you should sleep with a notepad and a pen under your pillow, or like within reach of you when you're sleeping, so that as soon as you wake up, you can just start writing things down before you forget.
Yeah, I keep a dream journal. My one buddy, actually, one of the friends of mine that I'm curating that pornographic journal with, is the one that got me into keeping the dream journal. He's very big into going through the dreamscape and all that astral projection shit.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever experimented with lucid dreaming? I've I've dabbled in that a bit myself. With have you ever tried, say, Blue Lotus or Huperzine? They can actually help a lot when it comes to lucid dreaming.
Blue Lotus, yes, that one specifically. I like to fly in my dreams when I get lucid. It's like the first thing I do always, and then after that, I like to decide what I want to do in the air. I went through a period 2 years ago actually where I was having trouble take off. That was a really difficult time in my life. That when I was lucid, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't fly.
That's interesting. Any particular reason why you want to fly? I mean, this kind of goes back. I think I heard it on the radio years ago, or maybe it was I'm not. If someone wants to cite this for me in the comments, go right ahead. But there's a dichotomy between people who want to have the superpower of flying and the superpower of being invisible. Because the people who want to fly want to do all kinds of like heroic shit. They want to, they want to have an adrenaline rush. They want to save people. Whereas people who want, invisibility, they want to steal from stores. They want to, look up women's skirts. So the joke there is that anyone who wants to be invisible is probably kind of a piece of shit. That's one way to interpret it. Yeah, you've used Blue Lotus. Have you ever experimented with Huperzine?
No, I have no idea what that is.
It's a nootropic that's used for short-term memory recall. I've used it more than once, a few times. But if you take it about a half hour before you fall asleep, it really helps with lucid dreaming. The main issue with Huperzine is that your body develops a tolerance for it really quickly, so you can't use it every night. I wouldn't use it more than, say, 3 nights in a row before taking a break.
All right, that's some interesting shit. Can I just get it through the mail, or is there some if I go to one of the local hippy dippy magic stores around, can I get it there? Will they sell it in one of their little glass jars?
They might have it. I mean, I always just ordered it from iHerb, iHerb.com, which has every kind of nutritional supplement you could think of. And it's pretty cheap too. I think you can get a 3-month supply for $9 or something.
I'm gonna go. There's this little magic shop, downtown Pittsburgh. It's pretty nice. It's only open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays from 4 to 8. It's called Sparkle Dragon, I think. They have a pretty large selection of that kind of shit, so I'll probably go there next weekend and check it out.
Oh yeah, it's worth looking around the stores to see if they have it. Otherwise, I would just get it online. But kind of going back to the topic of Spectres of Saturn, like you said, a lot of your writing revolves around sex. Another one of my favorite stand-up poems in the book is The Dead Egger, which is the title kind of gives it away for those of you who are into the memes. We all know the egg meme, but Patrick, you want to talk a bit about that one?
Yeah, what was I doing when I wrote that shit? I think I was listening to Mr. Metacore, and he was just talking about how he saw that meme for the first time, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. And then there was this video that went viral. It was this fat, white, blonde Karen woman, and she was there. I think she was at an ice cream store, and there was this younger couple that was pretty attractive, and they were ordering ice cream, and they were hanging all over each other. And she just went ballistic and started to throw a fucking nutty and scream at them and point in their face and tell them, "Stop having sex in front of me! You're having sex in front of me!" And I just saw her have this breakdown, and that poem just kind of came out of me.
just fucking going nuts on the street. Just this woman with the fucking dark circles under her eyes, the crow's feet, just a ball of resentment.
Oh, yeah, and I had to rewatch that video again and watch her fucking hands to see if there was a wedding ring or any of that shit on there. Nothing, man. I could tell right away.
Yeah, that's not much. That's not much of a surprise. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, seems a lot of the problems that we have in society are caused by those types of women who just have nothing better to do than these are people who 100 years ago. There's something to be said for the idea that you should just keep a woman continuously pregnant so that she can't get into trouble. These women have nothing going on in their lives. Who do you think's leading the fucking mask brigade? The fucking social distancing nonsense. These are HR mommy types who they're tasting power for the first time in their lives after being ignored by everyone, and they're just reveling in it. They're just reveling in it, making us obey all these ridiculous fucking rules.
You have the story of the old crone, coming into town and robbing and stealing the children. And you have the same thing going on now, but more metaphysical level, where you have these old crones, these old childless women coming in, and they're robbing the youth out of the culture and locking everyone down and making them stay in their homes and telling them, be old like us. Stay home, do what we do.
Stay the fuck home, watch Netflix, drink another wine box. It's like that. It's like that New Yorker cover with the woman in the messy apartment with a mask and the unshaved legs.
That shit reminds me of my damn profile picture with that cat smoking cigarettes in that messy ass apartment that I tweeted out earlier. Chick taking a dump.
Yeah, it's depressing. It's disgusting. It's fucking. It's pretty clearly driven by like I said, the total lack of power, the lack of sexual desirability. Obviously, that factors into it. These are women who basically have zero satisfaction in their lives romantically, and zero power whatsoever until now. They get to lord it over the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It comes down to two things. I think I was bored and it was funny. That's what these ladies are doing. They're getting their jollies out of this.
Oh,
They're bored, and it's amusing.
Yes. It's like you gave the example of the old crone stealing all the children. It's like pretty much every classical piece of literature. If there's an old unmarried woman, she's never up to anything good. Like there's never you can't the examples of like older women in fairy tales and epics and stuff, like it's never anything good. They're always up to some kind of mischief, always up to something. Witches is a perfect example. Society is just run by witches. They're not casting magic spells on us or fucking outright stealing children, but they're behaving in the same kind of malicious patterns.
There's just a general theme of all of the elderly robbing the youth of their vitality in this culture. Got the highest life expectancy ever. I mean, I know that's because you don't have infant mortality and stuff like that, but still, it's an overall theme. I pay so much damn Social Security tax, man, it pisses me off. And I know I'll never see a penny of it, too.
Yeah, or if we see Social Security, by that time the currency will be so hyperinflated that my Social Security payment will get me maybe a candy bar if I'm lucky.
Yeah, they'll get rid of Social Security soon because it's racist. That'll be the angle they use. All those old white boomers on it. It's pointless.
Yes, yeah. Well, they're already pushing something like that with regards to the stimulus checks. Like, we're going to pass $1,400 stimulus checks, but we're going to cut social services as well. So, it's like, I'm not really, I'm not big into welfare and stuff like that, but there's something very kind of sick about that mentality. The government shoves everyone into their fucking house. People lose their jobs. Businesses go under. And they're crying out for some relief from a completely artificial government-created problem. And the government is like, "Oh, we can't give you something for free. We have to. You can have your social services, or you can have the money that you need to pay your fucking rent right now. It's almost like blackmail."
Yeah, it's going to be a big shit show too here in a month when all the rent has to get due. Everyone's getting evicted and on the streets.
I assume those are.
Oh, here, so there's this town, okay, or this street. It's called Grand Street in Pittsburgh. They built a bridge a decade or two ago there, so they had to take the road up to the bridge. There used to be shops along where the old War Road was. They closed that down, so that's where all the homeless people in the city live. There's probably 2-3 dozen shops down there. It's going to double in population here in the next 2 months or so. I'm assuming I'm going to go down and look.
Yeah, that sounds rough. I mean, my understanding was that the eviction moratorium was extended to like September or something, but I don't know. I'm guessing individual states have their own moratoriums in place that are going to go away soon.
Yeah, and more so that too. But the eviction moratorium isn't affecting the renters as much as.
Well, yeah.
I work with some that have some properties that are really hurting right now, really hurting.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the renters aren't paying, that means the landlords aren't able to pay their bills. So,
nope. And that's who's going to be getting hit in this.
So that's gonna be another cascading failure chain. And conveniently, all these foreclosed properties can be bought up by banks for cheap and turned into Agenda 21 mixed use developments. We'll be hearing about we'll be hearing about Amazon's or Facebook's urban beautification project. 15-minute cities. They'll be providing cheap housing for the homeless in capsule hotels in cities where you won't be able to leave without your vaccine passport. Something like that.
They'll be stacked 30 deep in the basement of old rundown churches, dude. Just no one's going to them anymore. There's no money flowing. All the old neighborhood's done. They're not going to be in these hotels. They'll just be in these renovated old townhouses.
Yeah, it's
living in closets.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty grim. The situation's not great anywhere. I mean, I'm in Mexico right now. It is stupid easy to get an apartment or a house in Mexico because even though Mexico never locked down and it didn't close the borders, tourists, they stopped coming due to restrictions, fear of the virus, whatever. So a ton of people down here are hurting. Like I'm in an apartment. I got a permanent apartment that would ordinarily go for something like $1,000. I'm going to be paying only like $750 a month for it, and it's a huge fucking place. I've got my own office, bedroom. There's a garden. Washing machine. All the utilities are included. It's in a nice part of town. So yeah, there's a lot of misery everywhere right now.
Is the garden more important than the washing machine? I noticed you listed that first. Were you looking for a garden over a washing machine?
Well,
put garden necessary, washing machine mandatory.
Well, I mean, I've had apartments with washing machines before. I've never had an apartment with a garden. It's kind of a novel thing. Plus the washing machine. Yeah, I mean, plus the washing machine wasn't here when I got here. It took a few days for delivery.
Okay, so
I mean,
did you grow anything, or did you walk in there and you pick anything, or is it just flowers?
There's nothing in it but grass and a few trees now. But I'm getting some gardening books. I'm studying up on the local soil topography and all that. My understanding is that Guadalajara is equivalent to USDA hardiest zone 11, which is Key West, Florida. It's sunny here all the time. There's no snow or whatever. It's pretty much warm year round. Not a lot of rain. I'm told it rains a lot in the summer, but there hasn't been a single cloudy day since I got here. So, this is it's ideal to have like an all year weather garden.
All right. So, are you going for aesthetics, or are you going to go for like some kind of produce yield and try to feed yourself?
Mix of both. I want to have some flowers to kind of beautify it, and flowers are easy to take care of. It's easy enough to take care of flowers, but knowing how to grow vegetables probably useful. I mean, plus I did it as a kid. My mom had a vegetable garden. She grew lettuce, she grew tomatoes. there were wild chives that grew in our backyard. So it's something cool, So it's a hobby. It's something that it's something neat.
Yeah, you should start with some houseplants, man. I got like 14 here that I'm looking at, I think, last time I counted, which was yesterday. There's a cactus and some parsley. And houseplants are a good investment. That's a good start before all that other stuff comes in, too, and you can get them pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I already have a houseplant. I can always spruce up with some more.
No, you need like 12 in every room. The whole place needs to be green. It has to look like a greenhouse in there.
yeah, I'm liking that. It's like I had when I was in lockdown in Albania, the apartment I was staying in, the Airbnb I was staying in, had like a huge plant in the living room, and that plant was a nice touch. It kind of reminded me that there was a world outside of that fucking apartment. It also attracted these fucking these fucking beetles.
No, you bring a little life into your place. I mean, you're always going to get bugs, but
well, the beetles didn't really irritate me. They were, it was kind of, it's mainly because there was a tree right outside the window, and I was on like the 5th floor, and the windows weren't the greatest, so it was kind of easy for bugs to sneak in. I remember there was one beetle that limped its way over to the to the couch. You ever seen like those flying bugs that when they're on the verge of death, they can't even fly. When they try to fly, they just end up like hitting the ground, like they're just And I was just fascinated watching this thing, just limping along, clearly dying. I eventually whisked it into a dustpan and put it out on my balcony so that it could be free, and where it probably died.
Oh, I get a lot of ladybugs, and I find dozens, sometimes up to 100 ladybug carcasses in the window. It feels just dead in the summers, and I probably have to clean them up every week. I don't know how the hell so many get there, but it's absolutely ridiculous how many damn ladybugs pop up. And then there's a big problem when the cicadas come out, of them covering the bridges, and sometimes they have to shut the entire bridges down because they're covered in bugs. And if you driving on the roads like driving on black ice, just because you're squishing all the damn bugs under your tires, and there's so many, you slide.
Holy shit! Just ladybugs?
No, those are cicadas.
Oh, cicadas.
We have 2 cycles of cicadas that come out real bad every year. The mayflies aren't as bad as the cicadas. The cicadas shut the bridges down.
Yeah. It's that's fucking bizarre. Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to give too much away about Spectres of Saturn, because you should all go buy the book when it comes out on Friday. It's a really good book. It's a really good book. It's fantastic.
Seriously, yeah, buy my book. It's a great book. You're going to really enjoy reading the book. It's a wonderful book. I enjoyed writing the book so you could buy the book.
Yes. And also, if you don't buy the book, Patrick is going to get your book, if you have one, and light it on fire.
No, I'm going to piss on it first, and then I'm going to probably dump lighter fluid on it or gasoline, and then I'll light it on fire.
You're not pulling any punches here. Speaking of which, this is something some people may know you from our compilation published earlier this year, Ending Bigly: The Many Fates of Donald Trump. You wrote a short story for that called "Old Man Trump and the Tochka." Without spoiling that one, I thought that was one of my favorite entries, to be perfectly honest. It was kind of different in tone than some of the other entries that ended up in that book. You mind going a bit into that short story?
Yeah, Matt, I heard you say on the podcast that it was your favorite entry. I felt a little stroke to my ego there, but So I tried to really capture the mood that I felt was going to hang around at the end of Trump's term with that story. I really liked Yasunari Kawabata's The House of the Sleeping Beauties short story. And then also Gabriel Marcia Gonzalez's Memories of My Melancholy Horror book. Both of those very much enjoyed, and I kind of thought that would be a good angle to take the piece because it deals with a lot of decay and kind of stealing youth that I was talking about earlier. And I felt like a lot of that and kind of the incontinence that comes with old age would kind of hang around at the end of Trump's term.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, you referenced Memories of My Melancholy Horrors and House of Sleeping Beauties, neither of which I've read, but the tone really reminded me of like, I mean, this may just be the fact that it's set in Russia, but it kind of reminded me of like, Dostoevsky or even kind of Kalama tales, if you've read that.
Read a lot of Dostoevsky, but not the second thing that you said.
Kalama Tales was a memoir of one guy's experience in a juvenile prison during the Soviet Union. It was kind of basically imagine Solzhenitsyn, but like not a faggot. I'm not a fan of Solzhenitsyn, but like Kalama Tales is a really good book. It's just really raw and it shows just how shitty these prisons were.
All right, well, you'll have to DM me that guy's name so I can check him out.
I can never spell the guy who let me Google it right now. I can never spell his name correctly. But yeah, the name of the author was Varlam Shalamov. There we go. It always confuses me because his name doesn't sound really Russian at all, but but yeah, Kalama Tales is a really, really damn good book. And Old Man Trump and the Tachka is a really good story. And Ending Bigly, which you should also buy.
Yeah, you should buy Ending Bigly to read my story in there. It's the best one in there. No offense to the other authors, because all your stories are fantastic.
There can only be one after all. But now there was something you mentioned, Patrick, before we went on the show. There's something you wanted to talk about. Something that happened to you today that was rather fucked up. You wanna share the details of that?
Man, I had a shitty day. Well, I mean, I had a shitty day, but this old woman had a really shitty day, and I feel bad for her, dude. I've said like 50 prayers throughout the day for this lady, so driving down the road, and I see this woman sprawled out on the sidewalk. So I hurry up, and I pull over, and I run over, and she's just out of it. Woman was 81. Her name was Olga. She's an old Russian woman. She barely had an accent. I could barely piece it out, but it was there. And she fell. She broke her wrist. And she probably broke her spine. And it was just a really shitty day. I had to hang out with her, wait for her husband to get there in the ambulance. Luckily, like 20 minutes into it, though, an old retired nurse came over and started taking care of her because I really didn't know. I didn't know what to do. Pretty freaky situation like that. But luckily, the ambulance came and took her away, put her head in a little brace, and hopefully she was fine, but she was woozy as hell, and she fell. Her face was all bloody and shit. Nasty. Hell of a day, dude. I was driving around thinking about what the hell to talk about tonight, and then that fucking happened, and I'm just like, yep, there we go. There's a fucking story.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rough. I haven't had a great day either, but nothing like that. I mentioned before the show that I've been having electricity problems. The power company decided to do a brownout today, which shut down everything in my apartment save for my computer and my internet for some reason. I don't know how that works. I'm guessing it's because they were both plugged to the surge strips. And yesterday they did a fucking blackout while I was in the middle of a work shift. So that was really fun. And not only that, not only did this blackout shut down my power, it shut down all the local cell phone towers. So I had to walk outside of my apartment to even draw like a very weak signal. So,
You
that
had
was,
to walk outside of your apartment. Holy shit, that's awful. Like,
yeah,
that's a really hard day.
yeah, it really scarred me. I'm going to therapy for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, you don't have to walk outside tomorrow. You can just hole up all day in your little screen.
Yeah, I wish I could be so lucky. I have to go to Walmart to buy some hardware tools.
I fucking hate Walmart. Did you ever read my piece in Expat, I Hate Walmart, about how much I fucking hate Walmart?
I think I read that, but like the detail. Actually, just talk about it because that'll make for better content.
All right, well, so I mean, really, I'll just tell the damn story. I was at fucking Walmart leaving, and this old asshole used to be, where the greeters were. They're not greeters now. He stopped me. He wanted to look through my shit because he thought I fucking stole something. I was pissed off because that's just annoying. Like, there used to be these nice old hi. Now it's this old fucking geezer that looked like Colonel Sanders trying to fucking pat me down. And I was like, I fucking told him, I was like, look, dude, I didn't steal shit. You can call the cops and they can search me. I will wait here. I have nowhere else to be.
I'm just visualizing. I'm visualizing Colonel Sanders right now in like a medical mask and like neon pink gloves, just like Mall Station, figure looking good.
Colonel Sanders in that fucking big yellow vest, the safety vest that they all wear.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy and this guy was just fucking harassing you because he thought you stole something.
Yeah, just they like one of their jobs is to like check your receipt with your bags, like they do at Sam's Club and shit now, but they do it randomly, And if you look sketchy, I guess I look sketchy. They go through my shit. It happens a lot. Sometimes.
You're muted. You're muted.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I must have leaned on my laptop. So I'll just restart that whole thing.
Well, at least it wasn't a connection issue.
No. Yeah. So if it's an old woman that asks to look through my stuff, I won't mind. Just it's a little bit of a different energy if it's an old dude, and it's always the elderly that are doing this. It's this habit of them trying to slow you down and suck your life away and just go through your shit and just rub their grubby liver spotted hands all through the stuff you just bought like it's still theirs.
Yeah, that sounds bad. It's like, but again, I haven't been in, before coming to Mexico, I hadn't been in a Walmart for like 5 years, and the only reason I'm going there is because I don't want to walk all the way to Home Depot, and I'm just lazy. That's what it is, And I will say that the Walmarts here are marginally better than what I remember in the States. Like every Walmart in the States I've ever been in, just has this atmosphere of utter death around it. Here it's a little less deathy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's just convenient. My girlfriend's toilet broke like 2 weeks ago, and I had to go get a torch and some shit to solder the pipe. And I should have went to Walmart, but there's like no Walmart around here. It's like probably far away. And so I went to Target. Nothing at Target. Figured Target would have something like that. Nothing. I went to Harbor Freight. If you know what Harbor Freight is, it's a hardware store. They didn't have any fucking shit to solder. No plumbing stuff there. Had to go to Home Depot. Pissed me off. I hate running around, man, to all these damn stores.
Yeah, I get that. Now, I will say there's one store worse than a Walmart, and that's Kmart. I fucking hate Kmart.
Yeah, Kmart's bad. I like Target, but Target isn't as like robust. There's not as much hardware stuff. There's not as much sporting goods stuff.
Well, Target is a store for fucking women, basically. It's something. the whole joke's about Target. It's for upper class strivers who want to look and feel sophisticated, but they can't actually afford to go shop at the high end store, so they go to Target instead.
There's this Instagram account. It started as a Target fan account by this millennial girl where she would just go to Target and she posted her finds. She ended up getting like 250,000 followers and now has a freaking sponsorship from them. Ridiculous how that shit works, dude.
I mean, that's one way to hustle, I guess. Conversely, I'll be starting a new project called Dead Kmarts, in which I go around to every closed Kmart in the country, because there's a lot of them. I'm not even sure if Kmart is still around as a brand, and just laugh. I'm just gonna laugh. I hate Kmart. I worked at Kmart as a teenager. One of the worst jobs I ever had.
Yeah, did you have a bad boss? Is that why you hate it?
The boss is kind of buried. I had one cool
bad management.
I had one cool boss, and then he ended up in the hospital because at his New Year's Eve party, in his house, the stairs to his basement and the stairs upstairs were right next to each other, and he was a little tipsy at the party, and he went into the basement thinking he was going upstairs, and he fell all the way down, and had a serious concussion, had to go to physical. It was really rough, man. We all chipped in for his physical therapy. But he was a cool guy. The chick who replaced him was an absolute cunt. But the management wasn't the worst part. It was the fucking customers, because even though this Kmart was technically in a suburban area, it was by all the bus lines, so we got all the fucking riffraff. So fights were pretty common. The customers were incredibly rude, and also it's just difficult. It's difficult working at a Kmart. There's a reason why Kmart fucking went bankrupt and had to close all its stores. Technologically, even back then, this was I worked when I was a teenager, so this was like from 2005 to 2008. I got fired as a result of the recession, which was kind of a blessing in disguise. Kmart was technologically and choice-wise miles behind everyone else. We were still using old MS-DOS computers, cash registers to ring people up. We were still doing shit on paper when everything else at every other chain was computerized. We never had anything in stock. The only thing I really liked about that job was that it was very easy to steal from the back room. So I would just do that to nick energy drinks all the time. Fuck them, boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I steal full throttles on company time.
I had a friend who used to manage a grocery store. It's a now defunct local chain of grocery stores. Big manager guy. He just would smoke weed in the bathroom all day. With all the co-workers, that was the whole store. They went under now, so I bet you can't guess why.
Yeah. That doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. And to this day, I refuse to fucking shop at Kmart. And I swear to God, even in you would occasionally encounter Kmarts in nice areas, and even then, they're still fucking depressing. It shocked me to find out it's probably gone now, but there was a Kmart at what was it? Penn Station in New York City. They just have a huge Kmart as part of the Lear terminal, and you're surrounded by. Sorry,
I haven't been there. I say, is it still there? I haven't been there in
I have no idea. I haven't been there in 5 years. But they have a Kmart at the Lear terminal. It's surrounded by all these high end fucking it's super nice. Not the nicest part of the station, but they've got all the nice stores around, and you walk into the Kmart, and it's like you're transported right into the middle of the whitest white ass ghetto.
You ever been to a Trader Joe's?
Yeah, I used to shop at Trader Joe's when I lived in Chicago. It's not a bad place.
Oh, really? Man, Trader Joe's around here, you get the trashiest of the trash there, and the lines are out the wazoo. 40, 50 people every time I drive by. I don't understand why these people are waiting in line like that.
Well, that's a bit of a shock, because I always thought Trader Joe's was kind of a high end retailer. It's not Whole Foods tier, but it's a bit up there. But then again, the one I shopped at was I lived in Chicago. The one I shopped at was in Evanston, which is, that's where Northwestern is. It's a very rich area.
No, well, that might be the different one, the one that's downtown in the city, because every time I drive by that thing, it's not friendly people.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason I like Trader Joe's is because it was, it had everything I needed, but it was also small enough that I never got lost. I always get fucking lost in grocery stores. I some of it is just my lack of direction, and some of it is just like, I don't know. Brian and I have talked about this on the podcast, how the pandemic has ruined the experience of going to a grocery store. One of my favorite things when I go to a new country, I've done this tons of times because I've been to tons of countries. I like going to the local grocery store chain they have and just walking around in awe at all the things you can buy. I've done that with I did that with like the Spar supermarkets in Hungary. I would walk around the Carrefours in Georgia and Armenia, just like, oh my god, they've got Armenian sausage. Oh my god, they've got an entire mayonnaise aisle, stuff like that. Trader Joe's was helpful in that because eventually you have to stop gawking and like actually buy something before they close. So Trader Joe's was helpful in that because it's impossible to get lost in a Trader Joe's.
I get lost in any grocery store I'm in. I have a horrible sense of direction. Anywhere I go, I get lost walking from the bedroom to the bathroom in my own house within 2 months of living there. I mean, dude, it's awful. Everyone's lacking that one thing of intelligence, or maybe you don't think you are, and that's the one thing you're lacking is self-awareness. But for me, it's my sense of direction. I have to GPS, even like I move or my friend moves. It takes me anywhere from 4 to 6 months of finding a place. I have no conception.
Well, I mean, mine is kind of bifurcated. Like outdoors, like I can find my way around pretty easily, but like if I'm in a big store or wherever, like I can't find shit. My usual ritual is, whenever I go to not even just a supermarket, but like a Best Buy or something. I'm usually the guy still wandering around in circles for 20 minutes until I find what I'm looking for. Consciously trying to avoid talking to the clerks because they're all so fucking annoying.
Yep. Dude, I walk around the parking lot too for a good 10 to 15 minutes if I'm by myself. Afterwards, never find my damn car. Never forget, especially if I'm like going to 2 stores in the same plaza. That's the worst. So I walk out of the second store and I'm like, okay, where the fuck did I park? And it just never works.
Oh.
See, it would be better if I changed the battery on my car keys, like so I could just click my beeper. But that involves me going to Walmart and getting a car battery, and I always forget about it.
Yeah, that would, that's helped me in the past where I owned a car, but yeah, it's not great, Yeah, I always misplace my car in the fucking parking lot too,
Yeah, so first date, my girlfriend, I turned down a bus lane? Yeah, a bus lane. Or a bus-only lane for like 5 miles, dude, and got pulled over by the cops. I mean, I have a piss-poor sense of direction. There are like 40 signs, completely ignored them. Might just be oblivious. The guy was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, we're just driving around looking for a place to eat. And he's like, well, there's no restaurants here. This is the bus-only lane. I was like, oh. He goes, you really didn't know? There's like 5 giant signs. I'm like, no, we've been just chit-chatting. He's like, oh, okay. He was a real pal that he let me off. So I was with a girl. I acted real nervous, like I was trying to impress her.
That was nice of him. I would have figured he would have stuck you with the ticket just to be an asshole.
Yeah, he was real cool about it. I don't know. Sometimes you get a nice one.
Well, yeah, it's, maybe you respected the bro code. If you were with your girlfriend,
I was giving him the eye things, like, don't do this to me, man. Don't ruin this for me. Like, I'm on this date with this girl. I like emphasize that it's the first date.
Respect the bro code, man. Respect the bro code. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I haven't done well. I haven't been behind the wheel of a car in the longest time. But me talking in a car is a recipe for disaster. Not because I'll get lost, but because it'll be difficult for me to fucking avoid crashing into shit. My favorite example was I have a friend. I don't think he does this anymore, but he used to. He would record podcasts in his car, just because he was so busy he didn't have time to sit down and do it in his house. So he'd record in his car, and I tried doing that.
Doesn't Bibles do that shit?
Well, Bibles is a
Well,
like technology's advanced. Like this guy recorded podcasts in his car like around 2013, like 2014. Back then it was a pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, it was much more difficult to do it back then.
To hook your Xbox up back then.
Yeah, like Bibles is a master of it, but like there was no way to be a master of it back in 2013. When there was no real good equipment to do it with, and recording the podcast just consisted of setting your phone onto the cup holder and just yelling as loudly as you can. Depending on what car you have, I once tried. The first time I tried the podcast in the car method was when I was driving around Iowa covering the caucus in 2016, and I had to get that up pretty quickly because I was driving this ridiculous hybrid clown car with an engine that sounded like a bunch of bumblebees having an orgy inside of a vacuum cleaner. It was so fucking loud.
It's just bubblegum top pop up.
Just
Okay.
Yeah, just going 80 miles an hour down Interstate 80 was it was not fun. So I gave up on that project pretty quickly. The next time I tried to record a podcast in the car, I was driving from Chicago to Cincinnati in a I forget what car it was, but it was a normal car with like a normal engine. And I had to give that up because I was so distracted trying to record the damn pod. Well, first off, I had like 3 false starts because I kept fucking it up and stuttering and like whatever because I was trying to focus on the road. Then I finally got into a groove and I was successfully recording it. And then I hear a honking next to me, and I realized I had been swerving through lanes to the point where the guy in the left lane had forced to fucking drive off into the shoulder, right up against the Jersey barrier, almost crashing his car basically to avoid me swerving into him. So after that, I was like, yeah, if I try and keep this up, I'm either going to get a ticket or I'm going to get in a car crash. By the way, you should go listen to Bible's podcast. You really have to appreciate the amount of mental fortitude it takes to do a good podcast and not crash your car.
Yeah, Bible's podcast is very good. I enjoy listening to it as well. You should check it out. Dude, I have so many car horror stories. I am awful behind the wheel. I actually failed my driver's license test the first time, so that's just not good.
Oh yeah, I failed. I think I failed my test like 3 times before I passed it.
Ooh. I had the engine blow up on me in the truck like probably 3 weeks ago. Smoke me out of the inside. I had to dish it on the side of the road. That wasn't a fun experience either.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that sounds pretty awful. I haven't had any disaster stories like that. Thank God.
There's a good book there's a good bit in the book I'm writing now called Rapid Apple Decline about my hatred for the roads. Dude, there's so many you should pull up Pittsburgh on Google Maps and look how fucked all the roads are in this city. They're all run one way because they couldn't expand them after the horse and buggies. and they're still bricks, most of the roads, from 250 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago. And it's shit. It's shit. You should look at the map. It's the worst place in the country for driving. It really is.
I mean, no, that doesn't surprise me too much. We've got. New York City is famously bad for driving. Like, yeah, I wouldn't take a car anywhere in the city limits there. But like all these eastern cities with like the narrow roads that, like you said, were designed for horse and buggies are really unbearable to go through. Like Chicago's actually not that bad for driving. They've got bad traffic jams, but like the roads are normal sized and shit. But yeah, like the East Coast, you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah, all the Uber and Google and a bunch of other companies have their self-driving car headquarters in Pittsburgh, and they're training them on the roads. You see them driving all the time.
Well, that would make sense. If they can survive Pittsburgh, they survive anywhere.
Yep, that's the logic.
Yeah.
They actually had one crash and kill a lady, and they had to stop the project for a year. But now it's back up. I don't know how that happened.
I assume they worked.
I know how that happened.
Yeah, it involved large, generous sums of money transferred into the bank accounts of local politicians.
Yep. Lots of money. That's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, kid.
Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, I was just going on about stupid stuff. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I have another book coming out, Boogie in the Berg. That'll be out later sometime at an unreleased date. That's a collection of short stories about life and love and romance in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. It's being published by this company that's, you may have heard of. It's called Terror House Press. I hear they're cool.
Yeah, I heard they're pretty cool too. I don't know. The guy that runs it seems like he's got a good taste for books.
Yeah. But yeah, Boogie in the Berg will be coming. I'm not sure when, but like we'll update you that on we'll update you on that on Twitter and shit. Assuming we don't get banned and fucking shit like that. But yeah, Boogie in the Berg will be coming out. Anyway, we're coming up on an hour here. It's been a fine conversation, Patrick. But you always got to leave the audience wanting just a little more. So I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Patrick, is there anything you want to plug? Any projects you're working on? You've mentioned a novel you're writing, and anything you want to mention before we close the show out?
Yeah. So I am currently curating content for a pornographic journal. It is called The Peach, a journal of facete and lecherous reading. I am looking for art. Boudoir. I am looking for poems, prose, short stories, and we could serialize novels if you have any dirty pornographic novels.
He's looking for sex selfies. He's looking for gay porn.
Looking for anything you have, any porn, good porn, send it to me. But not like actual selfies, just the stories and shit, and maybe some drawings. I don't want to see your dicks. Don't send me your dicks, please.
Yes, no dick pics. Plus, that's it's just rude. But anyway, yeah, you can contact Patrick for that. His information will be in the description. Of course, you can. Your Twitter handle is Crowned and Motley, right? You're muted again. Okay. You're not muted anymore.
No, okay. So, yeah, my Twitter is Crowned and Motley, and my email is kilgore@wholeguy.com.
Definitely, man. Go check Patrick's work out. There will be links to all that in the podcast description. Of course, you can buy Spectres of Saturn. It'll be out Friday. By the time this podcast is up, we'll probably have pre-orders ready. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter. You can go to terrorhousepress.com. There'll be a link in the description, and you'll be able to pre-order the book and get a coupon code to save a little money. So, that's go check that out. Spectres of Saturn, really great book. All of our books are great, but Spectres of Saturn is really good. And of course, you should also pick up Ending Bigly, The Many Fates of Donald Trump, which includes the short story we talked about by Patrick in there. But yeah, it's all good. Check it out. And of course, you can always find me at mattforney.com. That's my website, and all of my links will be in the description. And I'll do it for this episode of Terror House Radio. Be sure to check in every day at Terror House Magazine, terrorhousemag.com, for our latest publications. Our books are at Terror House Press, terrorhousepress.com. Spectres of Saturn by Patrick Kilgore is coming this Friday, March 5th. You can follow our social media links in the description. And of course, you can always check out our latest episodes of the show at terrorhouseradio.com. Terror House Radio is produced by Bryden Proctor and presented by Jugs. Intro music by Meme Extremist. Illegitimate on-cover rundom. Don't let the bastards grind you down. I'm Matt Forney with Patrick Kilgore, and we are